What's up, my fine fishing friends? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to continue our lake breakdown series for Kerr Lake. You guys know that we've been really focused on what I'm calling that Steel Creek area, which is the Nutbush area as well, what some of the locals might call it. Last time we finished off on some offshore hotspots down in that Steel Creek area. I think it was our second video. We're going to go ahead and do another video again tonight, covering more offshore spots, and then hopefully be able to wrap it up with one last video. So 4 or 5 videos just on offshore hotspots in this area. It's going to be good. Make sure you stick around. Let's go. Before we get started on the breakdown for Kerr Lake and the Nutbush or Steel Creek area, before we finish that up, I wanted to make sure to brought you out here to the website Simplistic Fishing and let you guys know that all of these waypoints are available for you to purchase. We've actually got them broken down into a lot of different areas on Kerr Lake. So if we go over here and we look up Kerr Lake or Bugs Island, we come on here. What we can do over here on the left-hand side, you can see we've got images of the different areas. It's a little bit difficult to tell what area this is. The best way to do is to come over here to the left side. So if you want to look at Bear Creek area, this would be the Bear Creek area. We've also got the Bluestone area. So this is the whole Bluestone area. You can kind of figure it out by just looking at the map. Go on down. Let's look at the Steel Creek or Nutbush area that we're talking about today. And this is the area as well. So lots of good stuff out here. This whole entire lake is broken down. I doubt we'll be able to do videos for the entire lake because we're starting to take up too much bandwidth with just Kerr Lake because it's so big. So we'll probably move on, talk about some other lakes, and then throw in different areas of Kerr Lake as we move along. But doesn't mean that we haven't got it done. The entire lake's done. Just come out here to simplisticfishing.com and pick the areas that you want. All right, let's go ahead and switch back over and let's talk about the offshore hotspots for Kerr Lake. Let's go. Here we are back out on the Navionics mobile app, so you can see all the contours and all the good stuff here. And we're really focused on this Nutbush or Steel Creek area, so this area right in here. Now, we've already done a video in the past where we started up here at the very top, and we worked our way all the way down, basically where you see that man overboard sign. That's where we worked to. So if you missed that video, just go out to the Lake Breakdown playlist, look up Kerr Lake, and you'll be able to find that one, plus many, many more. We've actually covered all these waypoints. Or not these waypoints, but all of the Google Earth waypoints, all the stuff we found there with the rock, the laydowns, the debris, all that stuff, that's all been done as well. And we've got videos out there for that too. So let's go ahead and start here at the man overboard. And remember, in this video, we're just focused on offshore stuff, right? We're looking at the contours of the lake and we're seeing what we can find based on the contours that should be high percentage areas for us to go look at. So obviously this lake has got a ton of offshore opportunities. I mean, just a giant ton, tons and tons of offshore opportunities, but there are certain places that look better than others. And so that's really what we're gonna do is we're gonna mark kind of the higher percentage ones, the ones that really stick out to us. We'll mark those, but that doesn't mean that we've marked every single offshore hotspot on this lake. That would be impossible. So right here, we talked about this last time. Remember we had the river channel coming down through here? And I was talking to you last time, and you'll hear me talk about it on all the lake breakdowns, is you always want to know where those creek channels are and where those river channels are, especially the significant ones, because they will hold fish and they will allow you to really kind of figure out where those fish are going. You know, if there's a creek channel there, it's like a highway, and then all of a sudden now all you got to do is you got to figure out where the stop signs are on that highway. And once you figure that out, then you start being able to pattern fish a lot better. It just makes things a lot easier. So pay attention to these channels because these channels are absolutely key to learning how to fish. All right, so as we go down here, we talked about this point first off last time, and the thing we liked about this point the most was just it had the nice shallow top. It came out way out here, kind of a tapering point, and then it broke off right as it got close to that river channel. So thinking that's going to be a pretty good spot to look at. As we move on down, take a look at kind of the next points that are coming down. Same type thing, right? We're looking for those shallow top points that are pretty, not completely flat, but they taper off. They've got pretty big contour gaps between. See these big gaps? That means it's taking a lot longer to go out into the lake before it drops off. Those are really good spots to find, especially in the fall. So You know, it just depends. Some of these points aren't going to have anything on them. Some of them are going to be loaded with fish. So it just depends. But these are high percentage areas that you need to go look at to see if you can find fish there. Now, again, we talked about that creek channel, right? And how important that creek channel is. And if you find spots that are close or near to the creek channel or the river channel, you've got to fish them. These two spots are no different. Look here, we've got some really nice little points right here. Got a nice little point here with a big sharp drops. There's probably some kind of a ledge there or something. And there could be some buildup of debris and stuff like that from the river coming down, and or maybe it's coming this way. I don't know which way it's going, but whichever way it's going, it will basically deposit that extra debris and stuff like that that it might carry. So you definitely want to look right in here. And you also want to look over here where you see this little red dot. It says that there's a rock pile. And again, being close to that channel swing there, that's got to be a nice little point, productive point for sure. All right, so let's keep moving down, show you guys where I'm at. There's where the man overboard was. I'm going to come down just a little bit more. And then we're going to go into these two little spots right here. And let me back up real quick. It's really hard to tell because this lake is so huge, but there's where I'm at, right where that little cross was. There's that little river bend. So if you're trying to match up where I'm at, that's where the river bend met, and we're just working our way down that bank line. Okay, so as we work our way down this bank line, next couple things, just a couple points here to take a look at. This one's really not that great, but I liked it because it was so flat on top. It basically has 3 to 4 foot on the top, so real good feeding table right here off of that point. And then if you move down, you kind of, again, if you're following that river channel, you're trying to keep up with me, just right where that bend is, look straight across from it, and you're going to find a long extended point. And you guys know what happens when you get long extended points, especially this one, 6 foot on top. That is money. That is going to be a good point to go look at. You definitely want to go out there and see what you can find. All right, so next up, what we're going to do now is we're going to go down here into this little cove. Say little, but everything's big here on this lake. But we're going to go over here and take this first little point that we see as we go into the cove. And again, same type thing. Nice flat top, good feeding table. Should be a pretty good point for fish to be at. Obviously, it's going to be a seasonal thing, right? If they're working these points correctly, there's going to be times when they're on the main lake point, which is pretty much all the time. The secondary points will have fish on them at different points in times, and then of course these little bays and these flats that are back in the back, those will load up with fish as well in the spring and the fall. So you just got to kind of learn how to pattern these guys, and then kind of put these waypoints with those patterns. It will make a big difference for you. Now, if you look in here, as you get in the back of this cove, I'm thinking I'm seeing like a little bitty ledge here or something. I mean, there's basically nothing right there at the top, and then it drops significantly down to 11 foot. I don't even know how deep this is stuff way out here. It's 12, I guess it's only 12 foot, but a good ledge right here. Don't know what caused the ledge, but definitely a good ledge right here and a good place for them to stage up. So you definitely want to look in those areas. Let's move down as we come into this cove. And again, if you're wondering where I'm at, I'm going down this arm. We looked right there just a second ago. Now we're going to come down here and take a look at these couple spots that are down here. Again, this is a really good point just based on the contours. Long, extending point, flat on the top. Looks like it could be a great place to fish in the fall for sure. Then as we move down here, don't see anything back here because really the offshore stuff, but we can come over here and right off this point, right by that buoy basically, it looks like you've got a pretty good little rounded point that comes up here. It tapers off. It just sets up good. It pinches in a little bit right here before they get back here to the spawning bays and stuff like that that are back here. So I could see this being a good little staging spot for the fish to stop at. And really could be any of these points that stick out, but we're really looking for the flatter ones. If we can find the flatter ones that have a little bit more definition to them, they seem to do better. This one looks really cool. It's flat here, then it starts to taper, then it flattens off a little bit more. Then it tapers down and then it flattens off a little bit more. So you could literally scan this whole thing and they could be anywhere on that point just based on the way that it's set up. And then also right over here, you've got another one of those good little points, flat on top, comes out. So let's swing out of here. We came out of that cove. Now we're going to move on down. We're going to go down to the next cove. And obviously, first thing that sticks out to me is this long point, extended point. You guys starting to figure out where we're coming out here. Hopefully you're starting to hear me say the same thing, but long extended point, main leg, got a flat top, got to fish it, right? That one looks awesome, especially the fact that it's main lake. And then as we move down in here, we got a couple more points down in here to take a look at. This one looks good. Nice flat top. And then if we move on down to here, This looks like we've got maybe a possible little ledge right here. And I love to find these little ledges. They seem to really do well for me, especially if there's rock around them. And typically if you got on a ledge like that, there's some kind of rock or something. It's kind of hard to do that ledge with just mud. So right in here, if you look, 1 foot to 8 foot to 18 foot. So something's going on right in here, right off the edge of that point. I definitely think it's something you should go take a look at and see if you can find anything there. All right, so we're gonna move out. We've moved out to the main lake, and now we're gonna move on down. And as you're coming down the main lake here, right in the middle, oops, sorry about that. Get off. All right, sorry about that. The phone went a little bit crazy there, but we are back. So let's talk about the middle of this lake. So if we're coming out here and we're looking at this middle area, notice this long tapering, I don't know if it's a seawall, a break wall, what the heck it is, some kind of hump that comes way out here. You definitely want to go out here and check this thing out and see if you can find anything that's relating to these. That, you got these little humps out here. It's got nice breaks off the side of it. It just looks like something that the fish would definitely be attracted to. It also looks like an area where you could possibly get some shell beds and things like that. So things to wash up off the top of this little hump here and then basically provide feeding tables for those fish to go after. So go out there, check that out, see what you can find. Also, when you come over here on the inside, this whole spot here just looks like it's going to be a good spot. More than likely, probably a community hole that you already know about. But if not, maybe you're new to fishing, I mean, I would go here. Amongst everything we've been talking about so far, this is probably where I would start at. I just like the way that it sets up. If you look right here, you've got some nice little humps here that come off to the side. You've got, again, you got that nice ridge that's out there as well. Just a lot of good things going on right there on that main lake area. So as we move on down and we come down, I'm stop getting as excited here. I didn't have anything over on this side that really jumped out to me. Maybe back in here, just right here in this little area right here, there could be like a little ridge or something, not a ridge, but a ledge, because notice how tight it gets right here and how tight it gets right there. So maybe right in there, but I don't know if I could really put the point there really and feel confident, so I didn't put it there. But obviously when I come back out here and I get more into the main lake area out in here, this is where I start getting excited again, because we're talking offshore and that's really what we're looking for. And this right here looks absolutely money. Notice the channel on the side of it right here. This is that seabed area. That's the river channel. So you've got a river channel coming up and swinging against this point, or I think this is a point. Yeah, swinging against this point right there where that hump is and everything. So you're probably gonna have some rock that's right here, some debris and stuff like that. You're gonna have fish that set up on wherever the current comes. I don't know if it comes this way or this way. Without looking at the map, I can't really tell right now, but depending on which way the current comes, get on the front side of it. So let's say that the current's coming this way, right? And most people think that the fish are gonna set up back here and they're gonna wait for that bait to push up over them, and then they're gonna attack on the backside. And sometimes there are fish on the backside, but I'm telling you right now, there's more fish on the front side. So if the water's coming this way, right? So you're following my arrow and it's coming this way. The water's coming this way and it's swinging this way. The fish will find something like right here to hide behind, like a boulder, a rock, a piece of wood, something. They'll find something to hide behind. They'll set on the front, and they'll be the first ones to be able to munch on that stuff before it goes up over the top of that mound. So it's really kind of I think that's kind of one of the big misnomers in fishing, that you fish the back side of where that current's coming off. Really, if you fish the front side, you're gonna have a lot more success. You're gonna find a lot more fish, and you're gonna find a lot more aggressive fish. So always fish the front side. Always fish the back side too. I mean, these humps, they're just good all around, but the front side is usually the better side. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and pull that back, and let's go ahead and look at what else we got in here. So again, we got another nice hump that's right here as well. Nice little channel swing going on right there. You can see over here, another good spot. And of course, someone put rocks here. There's rocks here because you've got basically a river channel swing or a creek channel swing. So there's definitely good areas. These last couple spots we've talked about, really, if I was loading up in this area, I would drop off, spend a lot of time up there that we just talked about, and spend a lot of time right here. These two spots have been the best spots to me that we've seen so far in this area of Kerr Lake. Now, as we move on down, some things to also check out are these submerged bridges. You've got a submerged bridge that's right here. And then again, we've got another very high percentage area to find fish, and that's gonna be right here out here off of this point. This point comes off, it tapers down, and it actually has like a almost a little hump that's out here. But again, you've got the river channel right here. You got a river channel swing going on right here. You've got good stuff going on in this area. And then after you get done, messing around out here, seeing if you can find anything, come over here and just spend, 15 minutes or so just scanning this roadbed and see if you can find anything on that roadbed. There could be debris out there. There could be rocks. There could be all kinds of things. And if you find the right spot on that roadbed, you could end up finding some magical spot that no one's going to be able to pick up, because basically it doesn't stick out on the map, right? I have no idea. I know there's a roadbed there, but I can't tell you anything else. I can't tell you where the debris is pushed up around that roadbed or anything like that. That's something you got to go out and check out yourself. All right, so let's keep moving down. Good ledge right here, right? Look at this thing. It's 5 foot to 30 foot. So there's something big time cutting down here. You've got rocks here probably as well. You've got the river channel going here that's cutting this out. This is a good area, that hump right in here. Moving on down, kind of the same thing, right? You got another little point. This is more of a little rounded point, but it comes out and it has that swing right there on the end of it. That's why you see those really tight contours. So definitely a good spot to go look. I'm gonna pull back here and just show you where I'm at, kind of midway down this bottom part here. So as we come out here, we're gonna take a look at this one. This one's not as good as some of the stuff we're seeing. It is a little bit of a rounded point on the edge here, but pretty good little feeding table right here at the top. And it's fairly close to a creek channel, so I can see it being somewhat productive. Now, as we move down from there, we're gonna go in here to this Anderson Creek. And as we come into Anderson Creek, we're just gonna show you guys a couple little areas. This spot right here, I didn't mark it, but if I was fishing, I would definitely come back here and look at it. Obviously, I'd take a look at that point that's over here. So I would look at this point. Even though I didn't mark it, I'd still look at it. It takes a couple minutes to scan it. But back here, again, I didn't mark this, but it definitely catches my attention. And why does it catch my attention? Because look how tight those contours are right there on the edge of that thing. They're very, very tight. If I pull it back a little bit, you'll really see it. So there's a little bit of a ledge or something right in here that could be a good place to look at, and it could be absolutely nothing, but it's something that I would go look at. That's one of those like little areas that, for whatever reason, when I'm looking at a map and I see that, I always want to go there and check it out. So we also have here, we have a good little point that comes out there. As we come down here, we're looking at another type of a ledge. Again, looking here, it's 3 foot, 8 foot, 1738. So definitely something right in here. Again, it could just be a really, really sharp break, but a lot of times that's where you're going to find the fish setting up at. And then we're going to move on back here. It says Anderson Creek, and then this says Mill Creek. This must be Mill Creek back here. Maybe this is Anderson Creek. So we'll keep going down this side, and then we'll work our way around. Let's go up here just real quick and just see what they say. It says stop, move. I don't know what that means. That could definitely be a spawning area. Notice how when you go up here into the back, of course we're talking offshore stuff, but this could definitely be a spawning area. Maybe that's why they have that mark there. We also have a nice little point right here that comes out. You can see here it's got a really sharp break off the edge of it. So I could see that being a productive little secondary point. Another good little secondary point back in here too. Good little tabletop, good ridges off the side of it. Really like how it sets up. You're gonna get back in here almost to the very back. And we get back here. In fact, let's show you guys what this is. This is a Flemington boat ramp. So if you go across from the Flemington boat ramp, right here, you've got some really cool looking offshore stuff. You got a little hump that's out here at 14 feet. You've also got this little ridge line that comes out here and produces these little humps. One's at 16, one's at 17. And then if you come back here, this says there's rocks there, but notice how sharp that break is right over here on this side. And that is something that I would definitely go and check out. You've also got some other stuff up in here. It just says stop, move, if nothing, move, start, point to fall. I don't even know what the heck this crap is, but we're not gonna follow that. We're just gonna go with what we see here. And if we see any type of brush pile, we'll stop and talk about it. But let's keep moving. As we move on down here, the next thing, same type thing, right? You got this point that comes out. It's about 15 foot on top, has breaks on both sides, just looks really, really good. Something you want to go look at. We move on up a little bit further. We get over here. You'll see it on the map. It'll kind of stick out, but you'll notice this is all flat, and then all of a sudden you got a hump that's coming up to about 16 to 17 feet. So definitely something you want to go look at right in that area. Another good little rounded point there. I don't think we need to go into that. Now I'm coming back in here to Mill Creek. I don't know how close you can get to these things, these substations, but if you can get up close to it, you've definitely got a nice little ridge coming right off the edge of this point. I don't know if you're allowed to fish back in there or not, but if you are, you want to go take a look at it, or if you can at least cast back there. And then as we move down here, didn't see too much down here. There is one little spot back here in Mill Creek that I did mark. And if you look right here, this one looks really interesting. But, you know, if I'm back there and I'm looking for spawning fish and stuff like that, and maybe I'm looking for those fish that set just a little bit further back, I can see them setting right up in this little area. Definitely probably not a summertime thing, more of a springtime thing, but a place you want to go look at. Another good little point here, nice little rounded point coming around here, pretty tapered. Looks pretty decent. And then coming up here, got another point right up here. This looks good. Nice tapering point comes off. You know, this one sticks out pretty far and it's pretty flat. Look how wide those contours are. That means you got a pretty good flat table going on right there in that area that you may want to look at. And then also as we come over here, we come off of this main lake point right here, and you can see here we've got a nice little flat table out here, about 7 to 8 foot, and then eventually it falls off. But that looks like another good place to go in the fall. Just love how that sets up. Nice little staging area before they, when they're coming off main lake, before they go back into these main creeks or coves and stuff like that. All right, so let's go ahead and stop right there. I think that's a good spot to stop at. In the next video, we're going to continue on, moving on around the Nutbush or the Steel Creek area, whatever you want to call it, until eventually we'll get up there to that boat ramp and we'll be done with the offshore stuff. Again, if you haven't yet, go check out that site, simplisticfishing.com. Wish you guys the best. Until next time, I hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.